Hey everybody, this is Dr. David Evans from the PIC TV network. Thank you for tuning in, watching with us all over the world. Always, we welcome our audience who who are watching with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and also on the PIC TV network. You are so special to us, and we want to thank you for your time, and especially for those who are watching with us for the first time. Thank you for tuning in. And we are so happy again. We have a powerful, powerful subject tonight that we're going to be talking about. That is America's emergency crisis. Yep, this is a very, very crucial time that we're living in today. And we're beaming it in from Washington, D.C., where I am, all the way to New York with Patty. Hey, Patty, wave to everybody. We're going all the way to Atlanta, Georgia with Michelle Cox. She is our public relations person, and we have joining us tonight for the first time, Miss Linda Williams, yes, from New Orleans. And we met on Clubhouse, and I'm certainly happy to have her on tonight on our presentation. It's so important for us to realize that we live in a time that we have never seen before with COVID-19, the Delta. You know, we're facing so many things in this world, and we just experienced so many people in the midst of this hurricane has just touched so many lives. And we wanted to devote this program tonight to our brothers and sisters down in Louisiana. And we wanted to talk about how we can help and assist. And we had a special prayer visual last night on Clubhouse, and Linda was in there and she enjoyed it so much. Then we invited her to come on and share her story and some testimonies on our new segment. Tell somebody to chime in. You can chat your information from YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And I want to go right to New York. I want to go to New York. Patty, how you doing tonight?
We're doing great. We're doing great. And we were on hurricane watch here, part of the Red Cross. I am a Red Cross volunteer and part of the disaster assistance team. I also am part of the home fire prevention team. But we're on call, virtually, also, going to the field. I stayed here in New York, but there are a lot of members that headed down just to start helping. And you know what? Everyone means everyone to the Red Cross. So they're a great organization. I was influenced to become a member when we suffered 5 feet of water in our business that we've had. Now we're in business for 30 years. Thank God we were able to, rebuild. But we had 5 feet of water. And you know what? We lost clients of ours passed away due to the floods. The hundreds and thousands really of people lost everything, family pictures, clothes, everything. And it was a catastrophe. So what's happening in New Orleans, even though it wasn't my dwelling, it was my clients' dwellings and it was our family business, and it was a big deal. So I don't take that lightly. And the Red Cross was there, day in and day out. And people all these years later still talk about it. And it made me want to be part of that, helping others. And I just really, I hats off to the Red Cross for all they do. So, and you know what? Linda was sharing some stories of being down in New Orleans, and I know Michelle has history down there. So I'd love to hear more about their shares. This is Patricia. Over to you, David.
Yeah, it's so important for us to hear from people who've been there, who live there, who understand the environment and what the feel and the hurt and the harm, the hurt of the people. Michelle, you're from down south. We talk here almost every day, and you know how it is down in with the people down there. You and Linda. Michelle, talk a little bit about just your heart and your love and concern for those down in New Orleans.
Well, first off, Louisiana, and more than just New Orleans as well. The storm laid a really wide path, went into Mississippi. There was a bridge collapse there in Mississippi, and then it's worked its way up. And we've seen some flooding here And I talked to my cousin that's in Baton Rouge, and there's a lot of down trees on her street, but she's good. So I have family down south, and right now everybody's reporting in good. You know, a lot of people left New Orleans when they said that this storm on the same day that Katrina came in was barreling to Louisiana. So my nephew, my great nephew, went home, and he went home to Mississippi. And so, unfortunately, some things got better, some things didn't. A lot of people in Louisiana are still without power. So I recommend everyone that's able to shop for extra supplies to help, because they're going to be disaster relief trucks coming from Atlanta and other places, and they have a centralized point. Once I get a little bit more information, I will be posting that on all my social media, and I will get with Dr. Evans to post it on our website. This way we know how we can help. The Red Cross is there, United Way is there. We know FEMA is there, but it takes you and me as a family in a village to help everybody that in need. And while you might not think $10 or $20 is much, when we all do it together, it makes a big difference. All right, Linda, back to you.
Yeah, I want to bring Linda in. We talked last night on Clubhouse, and her heart went out because she said somebody cares. She has family there. She's from there. She went through the Hurricane Katrina, and I wanted to bring Linda on to talk about being a part of New Orleans, uh, and what it feels like to be in the areas that you see on television. Come on, Linda.
Yes, little technical difficulties. Linda, check your mute.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you in.
I was saying right now, to be perfectly honest, it hurts because while I'm from New Orleans, I transplanted to St. Louis as a result of Hurricane Katrina, and so I know the anxiety that goes along with a storm that's approaching. I know the anxiety that goes along with trying to make a decision to stay or to leave. Um, I know the anxiety of leaving and then having to have extended travel because cars are breaking down and there are no restrooms along the highway, and so there's a whole nother dimension of this evacuation thing that most people they can't even begin to get. All they think about or they see or exposed to is the hurricane. They see it on the map. They hear about the winds and the strength and the areas that it can touch, but it touches people, and it touches people in more ways than we can imagine. And it touches people for longer times than we can imagine. Hurricane Katrina was 16 years ago for me. But every year, August 29th, it is that year again for me. So it's difficult. It is painful now to watch your family. Some are in hotels, others are sheltering in place with no electricity. Some have I think one of my family members has a generator, but the others are just going through it. And food is going to spoil, and they're just things you don't think about, and they don't show you. They show you the physical damage, the structural damage, but they do not show you the emotional damage that these storms do.
That is amazing. When I look at the news, and it's different when you live there, you've been there, you have family there, and you see places that in those areas, like we were talking last night in Clubhouse. Um, I've been in Washington D.C. all my life. Um, I just can't imagine our city going through something like that over and over again. Michelle, I want to bring you back up with Linda's, and I want you guys to talk a little bit about the Southern hospitality, how it is down there. You know, DC is a little different. We political. You got the monument, the Capitol, the White House. This is the world-class city where we make money here, and decisions are made whether people will like it or not. But it's a little different down south with family members, and you know people around the corner in the block. And I want to talk about when something like this happens. You were talking about people trying to get out. Is there a point where you can't get out? Linda was talking about how she drove on the road for 18 hours, normally a 4-hour trip, 18 hours in the midst of the heart of the storm when she was down there with her mom, with her son. I want you guys to talk a little bit about that.
So it was with my mom and my daughter, and my daughter was 16. It was her senior year of high school, and that drive typically would only take about 6 hours. But because of the people who were trying to get out, the highways were congested because of sheer volume. But then you had the people who were leaving with whatever they had. So maybe their cars weren't in tip-top shape. And so they were breaking down on the side of the road, and that caused delays. Maybe some just ran out of gas and had no money to get gas. So that was causing some delays. There was contraflow that was in place. And so everything that would normally bring you into the city of New Orleans was now configured to take you out of the city of New Orleans. And we left early enough to have beat that, but that was not the case. And then as you drive along these highways and you're trying to find a bathroom, a place to stop, every place is closed. And so what we had to do with my mother was to make a restroom on the side of the road using the doors of my SUV. And whenever we would travel, my mother would always pack toilet tissue. I'm like, Mama, why are you doing that? They got places for us to stop. And on this particular trip, I knew exactly why she had packed it, why she would pack it all the time. So that's one thing. And then to leave your home and to not know what you're going to find when you come back, that's on your mind. When we looked at, I worked for a company at the time that gave us access to the weather system that most people didn't have. And when I saw that storm, and I knew that it was headed for the Gulf of Mexico, I knew that it was going to swallow up the entire Gulf of Mexico and half of Louisiana, because it was just that huge and it hadn't even made it to shore yet. So there's just so much that goes into that. There were people on the side of the road who were giving us water because they could hear, they had been watching the news and they knew what was getting ready to happen. And so it was the least that they could do. They could give us water, but there were no bathrooms. At one point I almost ran out of gas. And so I'm calling the state police on my phone to see, can you tell me where the nearest gas station is? And they're saying, no, ma'am, we cannot. We don't have that information. So I'm praying that I run up on a gas station that actually has a bathroom, and I make this turn, and out of the middle of nowhere, there's this very popular gas station. So we were able to fill up. And I don't discount divine intervention throughout this trip. It was something to experience. And that was a person who was leaving, evacuating. It's a whole nother story and experience for those who stayed.
Linda, I did not experience Hurricane Katrina in there. My first hurricane experience was Hurricane Camille, which wiped off the Gulf Coast before Katrina, which happened back in 1967, 68. during that hurricane season. And what I remember is my brother going out the door to pick up the pears off the ground and him getting swept up in the wind, and my mom's hollering, get my baby, because my brother was just, he was little. He was, kind of frail. Wow. And so they had to tie a rope to my dad and tie it off, to the frame of the house so he could go out there and get Mike. Because Mike's legs were, he was literally flying away. And so our house made it through the storm. We didn't, we had an outage. But now to have Katrina and Andrew and now Ida, but these storms, it's too close together because Hurricane Camille was, like I said, in 1967. And so that was almost 50 years.
Yeah.
To Katrina. But that's one of the reasons that for me, you can get a hurricane anywhere, you can get a tornado anywhere. But we know that a lot of times these weather patterns come off the water and they can have deleterious and just devastating effects. But the one thing about living down south is that people check on one another. They see how you are. How are you doing? Can I get you something?
Yes.
And that's the blessing about being in southern towns. Even, people coming up, we want to make sure, hey, are you taken care of? Can I get you something?
Yes.
That's both a double-edged sword because people try to take advantage of Southern hospitality, but just because we're hospitable and kind doesn't mean we're weak and we don't see.
Right. Yeah. And I will tell you, when you said that, that brought something up to me about Hurricane Katrina. My brother, who is physically challenged from the waist down, he decided to stay a little bit longer. And he stayed in our family home. And of course, the food and the electricity was going out. But everybody in the neighborhood, first of all, we always say in New Orleans, how you doing? How your mom and them? Everybody around. And, that's just how we are. But when it comes to something like this, that type of care and concern is magnified. It exponentially. What they did in the neighborhood, because everybody had food. A lot of people had gas stoves, so they weren't limited by electricity. Different people would cook a meal in the neighborhood and share it with everybody in the neighborhood. So even though one person may have had a little, everybody shared. So one day this person would cook and feed the neighborhood. The next day another person would cook and feed the neighborhood. And then if they couldn't cook, then they would just donate the food. It was truly a village until my brother was able to leave and come up to St. Louis with us. And that is the South. That is the South. And that's Southern hospitality. You can't beat it.
And it tickles me because Dr. Evans talks about Washington, D.C., but Washington, D.C. is below the Mason-Dixon line. And so they serve grits and they are part of the South. Now, there might be a political and intellectual divide, or so they think. But at the end of the day, there's still Southern hospitality. Dr. Evans, back to you.
I'm so happy for the PIC TV network where we can come and have our news segments, talk show segments, where you can hear from people like Michelle who've been there, who that story may never been told that way about her family, and Linda who's on from Louisiana, and Patty from New York. This is why we on to tell everybody on the PIC TV network around the world. We want to see what we can do. This is something that impacted lives, and people may not can come back. We're not up here doing a fundraiser. We're not asking anybody for money right now. We're asking you to pray. That's the first thing these people, our people need, not these people, our people, because they're part of me and you. Those are our brothers and sisters there. I'm looking at Patty from New York. We're going to come, and I'm going to ask you a little bit, Patty, about your city been through so much. New York has been through, 9/11 and so many threats and so many things and so many people. We're going to be talking about that in the next segments and how we can help and support each other. You're watching the PIC TV Network News Talk. We're going to come right back right after this commercial, so don't touch that dial. Matter of fact, tell somebody that we on, and you can be a part of our program by chatting in right now where you're from and information. We'll be right back right after this. Hey everybody, we're back once again. Those who are watching the PIC TV Network, our new segment here today. We're just covering a very important topic today that everybody can understands about hurricanes down south. It's so amazing that this hurricane came the same day. It's unbelievable. The Hurricane Katrina. It's just amazing. And again, like Patty was saying, thank God for those who forewarned and those who work in FEMA. We're going to pray for the first responders, those who are in the hospitals, those who are in the front line, those who working and around the clock. Those officials have to make decisions. The kids down there, the young women who are pregnant down there. There's a lot of people still have to get dialysis. They still have to get their medicine. There's a lot of people impacted from all walks of life, and we're praying. I wanted to go to Patty from New York for a minute. Patty, you understand hurt. You from New York. So many people that were impacted in 9/11, and we're getting ready to go into that on September to remember our brothers and sisters. And we have a special segment that we're going to do on PIC TV Network. But Patty, you understand that. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, that was a really, I think the whole world was affected, but if you were here in New York, everybody knew somebody who passed away. It was just one of those things, that day you just remember what you were wearing, how the weather was. It's just everything since that day. I'm not sure if the world sees it this way, but here in New York, we refer to before 9/11, after 9/11. I know it's completely different reasons of the catastrophe, but I'm sure like with Katrina, it's before Katrina, after Katrina. When there's something so horrendous that happens, obviously this was a malicious intent, so it even makes it even more hard to believe. But let me tell you, where my shop is located, right here in Island Park. I'm about 10 miles away, but you could see the burning building. I have family that's in the fire department, friends that worked down there. And like I said, we did lose people that we loved. And it was, again, before 9/11 and after 9/11. So much has changed, but we will never forget that day. And now coming up on 20 years, it's hard to believe it's been 20 years because, like I said, I remember like it was yesterday, and it's just hard to believe. But I just want to again, not to get off course, but with the catastrophes that are happening down south, like Michelle said, people donating. Asking how people are is a big deal. Linda said this too. The same thing with 9/11. We were all in a state of shock, but asking each other here in New York, it's a little bit rougher, like you were saying down south. And I'm not saying we're not nice here, but you know what they say: if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, because we are a little rough around the edges, and people have, especially in Manhattan, it's kind of like, don't mess with me. Don't look at me. But we're nice. We're nice though. But ask somebody how they are. Ask them how they feel. But let me tell you, when it was Sandy and that region of the South Shore by the ocean, when everybody lost everything, it took over a couple of years to really rebuild and fix all that was going on. But a cup of coffee, boy, oh boy, it's life changing. A bottle of water. I mean, you couldn't find bottled water, things that we just take for granted. So I definitely encourage any way, shape, or form that you can find a way to donate. And certain organizations like the United Way or the Red Cross, that the assets are going to get to the right place. And I just really, really want to encourage that. But 9/11, yeah, 20 years, and it's just, like I said, hard to believe. Over to you, David.
Yeah, our world has gone through something we've never seen before, and we have to be there for each other. I believe we are our brother's keeper.
Yeah.
I believe we need each other. And again, to hear the story, we're going to go into part 2 of the segment with Michelle and Linda, who understand how it is to be down south and have family members and friends down in New Orleans, and how it feels to escape for your life. I never ever had to go through that, and I pray for those who've gone through it down there now. And we're going to do some things as time opens up by giving some gift cards. When the hurricane hit down in Houston, my wife packed up all her jewelry, some clothes, and everything. We're going to have some love boxes. We're going to be sending them down to help some families, adopting some families. We know the holidays are right around the corner, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. We're going to have some love boxes. And as time go on, we're not doing this tonight because tonight the FEMA and the Red Cross and all the other agencies are doing what they got to do to help save lives. We're not getting in their way. But we also going to contribute as time go on from PIC TV Network friends to do what we can do to send some love boxes down to help some families, to adopt a family, to give a gift card, a little cup of coffee, do whatever we can to help a family. Sometimes little becomes much when we place it in the master's hand and then we help each other. So this is David Evans and the PIC TV Network. Thank you for watching this segment. Don't forget, part 2 is coming up right after this. So don't touch that dial. We're going to come right into part 2. Thank you for your time, everybody. We had a wonderful subject, and we're going to come back with part 2 right after this. Thank you. All right, let's wave, everybody. Let's wave at everybody. So thank you for your time.